Welcome to LYNDA'S TV show. If it is your first time, you like the channel, you like the program, subscribe and put on your notification bell because it's gonna help you to know when I upload a new video. Like you all may know, I present information across the globe, especially Nigeria to be precise, and I want to appreciate my viewers, my subscribers. You guys are so amazing, especially those who always tune in to watch me each time I upload a new video. It's not easy for you to leave what you are doing to watch my videos, especially those of my friends who hit me with harsh comment. I am not against anybody. I'm just a journalist. I'm presenting to you what is happening in the whole world. So if you think that the video or my title is not good, tell me. I am a human being. I have conscience and reasoning, and I read your comment. I'm going to make amend, okay, my wonderful people? So I open up a new YouTube channel where I talk about life in Germany. If you want to come to Germany to study, to live, to relocate, to work, follow that link. I'm going to put the link down below. Click on it. It will take you there. If you want to chat to me one-on-one, or maybe you want to get enough clarification, please contact me on IG with the name Nnamdi Kanu. And for those who are telling me that this is an old video, it might be old to you, but to others it's not old. If you think that the video is old to you, then you can walk away. Please, let's watch this video.
Thank Dr. Patutomi because I raised this issue with him. I have a 12:15 flight to catch, and I'm actually sitting in the office of the manager of the airline at the airport. So let me first of all thank all of you for putting this magnificent event together. For a country that has been averse to history, we actually need to gallop up and increase our speed just to be able to catch up with some of the essential aspects of history. So this is a very, very important event. And I thank you for graciously inviting me, but I also thank you for giving me an opportunity. So what I need to do is, I may sound a little bit philosophical in terms of just asking a few questions as opposed to making a speech about some of the assumptions that we may have when we talk about a concept like never again. Because even for us to say never again, there must be an agreement about what the issues are. And I speak as a Catholic. Now, as Catholics, if you go to confession and you confess your sins, the priest will listen to you, caution, give you, admonish you here and there, but then he will ask you to make an act of contrition. And the act of contrition goes something like this. He said, oh my God, you will say, I'm heartily sorry for the sins for having offended you. I detest my sins most sincerely because they displease you, my God, who are so deserving of all my love for thy infinite goodness and most amiable perfections. I firmly propose by your grace, never to offend you again. I make the point because when we are talking about, when we say never, never, never again, there has to be some kind of agreement as to our understanding of the issues, and that we have been released in. So when we ask the question, for example, it comes down to what do we remember as Nigerians and how do we remember these issues? Our brother, Bishop, who said the opening prayer, made a very, very good point by testifying who he was, where he was, and how he remembers the Civil War. Now, I think it's important for us to understand that the way that President Obasanjo, for example, would have remembered the war is not the same with the way that a man of his age, who was sitting somewhere in Kaduna, Kebbi, Katsina, Akwa Ibom, wherever, would have remembered the war. The way the soldiers remember the war cannot be the same with the way those of us who are not soldiers remember the war. So the way the victims understood the war cannot be the same with the way that we all understand the war. So I think it's important that we all understand, for example, who remembers what, why do people want to remember. There are many who would say, as we always say in Nigeria, forgive and forget. And amnesia is very appealing to many of us because it helps us to forget the problem. But amnesia is more or less like getting drunk and going to sleep. you still wake up with a hangover. So the critical question, and I think why this is important, is for us to come to a point in which we can say never again. We must, as we say in the Catholic Church, acknowledge, understand the gravity of our sins, understand the consequences of our sins, and we are seeking forgiveness from God because we resolve that having realized the grievousness of what we have done, we will never do it again. But we always say we will never do it again by the grace of God. That is why we ask for blessing, because mere commitments are not enough. So we might say never again, only to find ourselves, unfortunately, sadly, falling back in the same pit again. Now, I think it's important. The second point I want to make is we need a coherent narration and understanding of the events, that have been part of Nigeria's history. And of course, this is not a time to go back to the history of the Civil War. But what is very clear to everybody is that those who won the war, those who lost the war, and General Gowon's gracious statement that there were no winners and no vanquished, which was an unprecedented statement in a time of war in which a clear victor had emerged. Now, the graciousness of the military laid the foundation for us to begin a process and a program of rebuilding our nation. Unfortunately, tragically and sadly so, somehow things went wrong. Today, those who fought the war have met a lot of people who are full of regret. I'm told of a general who is of blessed memory now, but who said, look, were the Civil War to occur again, he would be fighting on the other side. Now, there is a lot of resentment and a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration, and the feeling that, we have not learned any lessons. Years after the war, 51 years after the war, we are still hearing of the kind of agitations that ordinarily, with good governance, with honesty, with commitment, with devotion, with dedication, with focus, and with the right leadership, we should have put a lot of all these anxieties behind us. Unfortunately, these anxieties are still with us. To the credit of General Obasanjo and to my gratitude to the government of Nigeria under him, I had the honor and the privilege of serving as a member of the Oputa panel. For me, it was the best university I ever attended, the best school I would have ever hoped to attend, because I was able to hear stories, even though they were just snapshots, but one was able to hear stories from the length and breadth of Nigeria in a way, a manner that was largely unprecedented. Unfortunately, what happened, the kind of thing that can only happen in Nigeria, because Oputa panel managed to generate quite a lot of data and a lot of information that academicians, policy makers with a lot of focus would have used some of that data to ensure that we erect a signboard saying never again. Because it gave us an opportunity, a mirror to look at ourselves. We had from those who fought in Biafra, we had from all sides of the country, we had from those who were the winners, we had from those who were the losers, we had from those who were actors, we had from those who were spectators, those who were victims, and so on. So I make the point that part of our problem in Nigeria is not articulating the issues, but we really don't have the mental toughness and the discipline to follow through with some of these diagnostic initiatives. So I make the point because, unfortunately for us, we've not been able to forgive ourselves as a people. The wounds of the Civil War have not been able to heal. Coups and counter-coups that followed after the Civil War, more or less, were miniature civil wars by themselves because they threw up the same contradictions, the same anxieties, the same sense of frustration, and the same feeling of divisiveness across the country. So when we look back, we have to do a cost analysis of what has happened. And we ask ourselves, had we not fought the Civil War, where would we have been today? Had we not had all the failed and successful military coups, where would we be today? Had we not discovered oil, where would we be today? Had we not abandoned agriculture, where would we be today? Perhaps the stories would have been different, but I think that an initiative of this nature must also give us an opportunity to do a little bit of a cost analysis as to what the implications of our inability to have the discipline to pursue effective and efficient policies through has cost us. Because the result is that we find ourselves still sounding even nostalgic about the way things were before the war. 50, 60 years later, we are still agonizing and wishing nostalgically that we had a little bit of steady power supply like we had in those days. Because when we look back now across the country, the entire country, nobody seems to be happy. The citizens of Nigeria are not happy across the board. And even those who are holding public office are not happy. So the governor of Cross River crying tearfully on the ground that after having been governor for 6-7 years, he still felt he had not been able to meet even a fraction of the things he thought he'd be able to do as governor. So what really are the constraints? Because clearly we can see that people are not happy. Even as some of the most basic indices in areas, it is difficult for us to find an area of our national life where we are doing well, except in the area of corruption. But we are failing in almost every area. Our education, the lack of infrastructure, our inability to deliver on almost all the key promises that successive governments have made, our roads becoming debt traps, the collapse of our infrastructure, the deindustrialization of the entire country, our inability to even create new opportunities for industrialization, this massive cloud of insecurity that is now threatening to engulf the whole nation. So, I just like to make 3 points. The first is there is enough blame to go around from this administration, the administration before it. I mean, blame is part and parcel of politics, and politicians need to get used to that. But we have to then come to a point in which we can say, even though there is enough blame to go around, can we begin to identify some of the issues that are fundamental to erecting a signboard that says never again? For me, the first is the need for us to construct what I call the Nigerian story. And we need, especially now that there are so many extraordinarily talented Nigerians who are making films and doing all kinds of things, there is need for us to have almost a deliberate documentary, a movie in whatever shape or form that focuses on telling the Nigerian story in the most unvarnished form. And I commend quite a good number. Was I muted?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Oh.
Please proceed, my lord.
Go ahead, sir. It's been resolved. Go ahead.
I just want to end. I'll take the next 2 or 3 minutes and I will end it. I'm saying, for example, that it's important for us to have an accessible story of Nigeria in a way and manner that young Nigerians can understand it, as we say, the labors of our heroes past, where this great country has come from. Because too many angry young people are taking themselves as the beginning of the history of Nigeria. It is important that the federal government or that people in different, with different initiatives set out to tell an unvarnished story of Nigeria. And as I said, I commend quite a good number of people who have done some really extraordinary work in trying to deal with this issue. But I think that is an important project. In part, it will reduce the level of blame. It will also help us to understand that all of us have a role to play in building this country. The second point I want to make is the whole question of, religion, the role of religion, in our society. It is a pity, that due to toxic politics, religion has become an instrument of war and violence. We need to roll back and because a lot of this is happening largely because people are using religion in an environment that has predisposed them, to this kind of application of religion. Today is religion, tomorrow is ethnicity. But none of these identities necessarily ought to be instruments for war. In a better organized society, where a government is even-handed in the way it treats its citizens, religion can be and must be for us a tool for uniting a lot of our people. Because if there are extraordinarily good people across the board, and the freedom of religion is something that must be cherished. The third point I want to make is the need for us to realize that as citizens of Nigeria, all of us belong to one country, and we are citizens under one law, under one God. What this means for us, for example, is that if we begin to push back a little bit the intrusive role of religion in public life, then every citizen, whether they belong to whatever religion or no religion at all, will achieve a level of equality before the law, no matter their status, no matter the position that they hold. Because if you are a traditional ruler, if you are a bishop, if you are a president, if you are a governor, you are that because you are a citizen of Nigeria. So there is need for us to create a level playing field in which generally citizens feel very convinced that they have access to equal opportunities. That when they commit a crime, they will go before due process, and that the law is over and above any other form of identity. And finally, it is for us as a country to start to deal with the issues of what I call the problems of consequentialism. That is, what are the consequences for good actions? What are the consequences for bad actions? These, for me, are issues that are very important because we have relativized, we have created a culture in which most things that are criminal are relative. Most things that constitute breaking the law are relative. Corruption, everything has been relativized. We do not have a standard of moral behavior. And that also fits very clearly with what I was saying about the rule of law. Now, if we have an aggregate of all this in place, then I believe that we can begin a process of building a country that inspires enough confidence. A country that we have citizens who appreciate their history, who cherish their culture, who cherish the sacrifices that those who have come before them have made, who cherish those who have governed them with all their weaknesses. Because as I've often said to people, I have been around long enough and I've interacted with many heads of state in Nigeria. I've never met a single governor, minister, president who has set out to destroy this country. People have made mistakes, but we must learn to develop a culture in which we respect one another, the sacrifices that we've made, correct the mistakes of yesterday in order for us to move forward. In that way, all of us can gladly write and mount this signboard that says, never again will we go through the kind of things that have caused bloodshed and division in our country. I want to thank you very much for indulging me and ask God to bless you for this wonderful initiative. May God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bishop Kuka. We love you always. You say it as you feel it. Thank you, sir, and please travel safe. I would like to quickly... yes, Bishop?
Yes.
Oh, so please travel safe, sir.
Thank you. I will still hang around because I'm in the manager's office, so I'll still listen.
Okay, so whenever the flight is ready,
when the plane is ready, I have my body back. Thank you. I will hang around.
Okay, Bishop. Thank you, sir. Yes, before we bring in the planning committee's chairman, Professor Batutumi, I would like to mention that this event is being co-anchored by my friend and brother, Mazi Nnamdi of J Media and Operation International have put the event together, and of course, the chairman of the planning committee is no other than Professor Batutumi, so he will give us his speech now. Good morning, Mazi.
Thank you. Good morning, sorry.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, good morning, my brother Dele. Thank you very much for that introduction. And quickly, I will hand over to the Prof. Prof, over to you. Thank you very much, Dele. I hope everyone is keeping safe. I have my face mask. I am an apostle. Everybody, please, wherever you go, ensure you keep safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, now on to Professor Batutumi. No audio. Can you unmute Professor Pat? No audio.
Okay. Am I audible now?
You are okay now, too. You are okay to go.
Lovely. Thank you so very much. It is such an honor, a privilege to be part of this continuing initiative. I'd like to say that this initiative started last year with the remarkable work of advocacy in trying to bring a better understanding of the civil war and its aftermath to the Nigerian people in a way that it will become a source of energy for building a new nation. And many countries profit off of learning from the mistakes of their past. And that's why history is so important to understand. Sadly, in our experience, for reasons of expediency and certain worries, we have reached a situation where people are afraid to talk about an ugly past.
Problem, Prof.
Can you hear me?
Wow. Now you are back. Now you are back.
All right. I was just saying that this initiative started last year as we reflected on 50 years since the civil war that we tried to make disappear. But we know that if people learn enough from errors of yesterday, they can in fact make a lot more progress than they are currently making, because they will rid themselves of the burdens that create mistrust. One of the biggest challenges in nation building is the challenge of what kinds of levels of trust deficit exists. We know that there is in fact an index around this in the world. We know that in countries like Denmark and perhaps Finland, that there is a high trust situation. This makes public policy implementation so easy. But in low trust environments, policy implementation is very, very challenging. The transaction costs are very high because you have to, as it were, hedge in many ways because of the low trust situation. And we thought that a better understanding of the Civil War can make it not just go away, but become a ladder that people can climb to a higher trust and therefore higher levels of growth for the country. Now, we are pleased to see that we have made progress since last year. The night before yesterday, I had a very lengthy conversation with President Obasanjo, who I hope will still join us for his remarks. And one of the things he said sounded remarkably like Bishop Kuka was saying. In fact, General Obasanjo insisted that we begin a project of trying to actually document the Civil War, getting all who are still living, who played roles, to speak completely frankly, even going back to the coup of '66 and all of those, document everybody's, the kind of work that the Kuta Commission started trying to do. Make documentaries, films like Bishop Kuka was talking about, and then people get to a state of comfort with the errors of yesterday. As George Santayana said, if we don't know our history, we're likely to repeat its errors. And so I'm glad that I am part of this process. The beginning point of getting value out of this process is altering, affecting our modus vivendi, the way that we live based on the lessons from yesterday. It can be called all kinds of names in the nature of the relationship between the levels of government and all of those things. If we get that structure proper, we will reduce the frictions that led us to the Civil War, and we will make a lot more progress. So I'm honored to have been part of putting this together. I want to thank Bishop Kuka for the sacrifice that he has made before jumping on his plane. There are several elder statesmen who are joining us, who were supposed to be formal parts of this conversation. But they are on standby. If the possibilities come later, I would like you to invite them on to say what has been run through. So thank you to Yenje Media and to Vision and Television for helping us string all of this together. I hope that with all of this,
we have an audio issue, Prof. And your camera, we also can't see the flow. Your camera.
Oh, okay. I thought there was another camera following me, so I did use my own direct camera because there's another camera in front of me here.
Okay, maybe the camera
but
elsewhere.
Okay. But I hope the gist of my welcome is captured.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me say quickly that because of time constraint, we are going to be taking addresses of 3 minutes each because we would like to have the speeches. And without much ado, we would like to quickly call on our chairman, our Baba, the living legend, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, to please address this gathering. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we can see you, sir. Baba, we can see you, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Can you hear me? Oh,
yes, sir.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to see and hear you, Ovation.
Thank you, sir.
I've always said to see you, but you have refused to see me.
No, I've come several times, sir.
There's a lot to do.
This weekend, I will come, sir. Thank you, sir.
There's a lot to discuss.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I said to thank the organizers of this program. I know they are all patriots of no mean order. And the purpose for which they set out is a very noble one. And as Kuka said, we have to know our past to be able to correct what mistakes we have made. And I'm happy we have invited people who were present or who took part in the mistake of the past. So when we make a suggestion, they can understand that we know what we are talking about. I'm happy to be here, and I hope whatever we discuss here will be a lesson for our people and for implementation rather than talking rhetorics. What I believe is that there is no mistaken belief or mistaken idea about what our mistakes were. It is the courage to correct them. That is what we lack. People make all sorts of analysis. This is what caused this, this is what caused that. This is what we should do. But how do we do it? Invariably, they do it in the negative. That's the summary of the thing. It was Pastor Mr. that well, maybe if we go back to where we started, before the trouble came, we get peace. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is to start, to go back to where we had peace until the trouble started. Because the trouble. And as Kuka said in his speech, if we want to avoid the past, we must avoid the mistake of the past. The mistake of the past is that we are putting wrong pen in right hole. We deny people their rights. We say we are one and we discriminate against each other. So that's what I think we get rid of. And be honest with our analysis. If it doesn't claim sometimes to criticize or tell the government, they talk under their tongue. Afraid to hit the nail on the head. We can thank God for people like Bishop Kuka. And I pray that he should live long, because people like myself, we have now a very short time to live. People from that part of the country saying it as it is. And I hope those who are listening to listen well with good intention. Let us stop paying this service to one Nigeria. Let us stop paying this service to a united country. We must say it and act it. You can't say you want a united country and you is against another power. And as I think Kokau said that some of the things we are talking about now, we are agitating for. But we be a thing of the past to take it for granted if we really want to stay together. Talking about where the presidency go. At this time, don't know. If you want to be equitable, you want to have peace. And if you really want them to be here, why should somebody be a part of Nigeria and say he has no right to be the president of the country? Why should a section of the country claim that they will be choosing who will be the president and the condition? And you must pay obeisance to them. It's irritating. Such type of thing cannot continue and say we want to have peace. If you know what is right, we don't decide and do what is right, there'll be peace. There's enough for everybody to share if you don't want to shit. Well, let me stop them for now until let them their progress. I thank everybody that has been here, and I thank the organizers of the program. Party told me before Greece was there.
Thank you, Baba. Baba kept to time, so we hope that we will all keep to time. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mazi Nnamdi, my co-host.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dele. On that note, I would once more say thank you very much, Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Every time that we call upon you and you come, and every time you drop it as it is, you know, one of the few elders still alive that today you are a joy to our generation to listen to. On that note, I will bring another person in the person of Chief Mbazurike Amechi. I am aware that he is in the house. Chief Mbazurike Amechi, please, can we spotlight him? Yes, he is another living legend, and it is an honor. Nayuku, I welcome you. Asingi, no. Udo derege Nayuku. We can't hear him.
Somebody unmute it. Okay, the daughter, the granddaughter, somebody's there.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Loud and clear. Thank you.
You can hear me now.
Yes.
I want to thank the organizers of this program. I wish them well. I happen to be the only surviving founding father of this country alive at this administrative level. I'm the only minister of the First Republic still alive. I'm sad. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to say. Beg your pardon. What I've seen today is no longer the country we founded. We got a constitution from the British government that named us Federation of Nigeria. But we thought that was a constitution put into effect by a law made in British Parliament, by British government. And so in 1961, we, in the government of the Federation, appointed a body to draw up a constitution for Nigeria. And in 1962, this constitution came into effect after plebiscite and passing through the parliament. Beg your pardon?
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
And so we became the Federal Republic of Nigeria, no longer the Federation of Nigeria, where the head of state was a mere representative of the Queen of England. Now, since then, Nigeria has never had a constitution that is of their own making. In 1979, the military government appointed the Bl0Ws committee. It wrote a constitution, a draft constitution, brought it out, put it to parliament, and the military took there was no parliament. The military took the constitution, removed what they did not like, and pronounced it as the constitution of the people of Nigeria. The Supreme Military Council, made up of about 11 top soldiers who assumed power by treasonable action, cannot say that it is a constitution of the people of Nigeria. Again, in 1999, Abubakar set up a Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly wrote up the draft constitution, brought it out to the country. The military took it again, removed what they did not like, and promoted it as a military decree, a decree of the Supreme Military Council, and called it a constitution of the people of Nigeria. It is not a constitution of the people of Nigeria. It is a constitution of the Supreme Military Council, made up of top soldiers from a particular region of the country. So there's no point deceiving ourselves. If we want to stop the thing, the Nigerian people must come together and write a constitution that will be a people's constitution, put it to plebiscite, put it to the public to decide what they want. I happen to come from the part of the country that was conquered in the Civil War. I happen to have fought Nigeria as a united party. I belong to the political party that believed religiously in a united Nigeria. That was why the premier of the Eastern region, that was the people of the Eastern region then, headed by Askiwe as premier, elected a Hausa man, a Fulani man, as the mayor of Enugu, the capital of the Eastern region. We appointed Mara Yushau as a member of the Eastern House of Chiefs. We believed in one Nigeria. There's no part of this country that will go and you don't find an Igbo man having a business there. People don't have, the strangers don't have business in Nigeria. I want anybody to show me anywhere in Igbo land where there is a non-Igbo man establishing factory. But we're doing that. Yet we are. So where do you want me to go? I don't. This country has to start all over again. And we're not going to be happy in the country. If we don't want us in this country, let us go. You can't beat a child and stop the child from crying. You can't beat the Igbos in this country and stop the Igbos from crying. You treat the Igbos as you don't want them, and yet when they say they want to go, you don't want them to go. I don't want to go. I believe in one Nigeria. There is advantage in greatness. I'm part of one Nigeria. I sacrificed for one Nigeria. At the age of 23, I went to prison for this country. And so I believe that Nigeria must be one. But Nigeria has to be ruled as a federation. And the people of Nigeria must come together and give themselves a constitution by the people of Nigeria. I'm not a constitution military council made up of 11 soldiers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nayugu, and thank you for that stating it the way it is. You know, it's one of those things where you've said it and it is very clear. Anyone who is fair-minded, like Pa Ayo Adebanjo said before, that there are certain things that ought to be done if we want equity and fairness to be the watchword. On that note, I would bring back my good brother and Dele Mamudu, again, the chairman of Ovation International. Dele, over to you. Can we introduce the next speaker? You can unmute, Dele.
Thank you so much, Mazi. Is it okay? I'm trying to see who is in the house already. Please, is Alhaji Tanku Yakazai in?
Yes, he's in. He's in.
Oh, fantastic. So then, please highlight our Papa Alhaji Tanku Yakazai.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dele. How are you?
Very, very well. Thank you, sir. Good to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
Ben, can you please select Alhaji Tanku Yakazai?
Hello?
Okay, good. We can see that, sir.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I wish to start by thanking the organizers of this event for inviting me and inviting some of my friends who were together at the time of the struggle for independence to date. I'll go on to my address. Mr. Chairman, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, this event is taking place to enable our people mark the 51 years of the end of the unfortunate episode in our history. Left to us, we will rather totally forget about our civil war, but as human beings, it is beyond our ability to get an event that was a defining moment in our political history. We shall continue to refer to those moments to learn lessons and reassess our current political activities and the question of national unity. To mark the end of our civil war, we cannot help but to remember the history of the Civil War itself and the colossal loss of multitudes of lives and property in our country. Our Civil War started in 1967. Its origin is traceable to the 15th of January 1966, attempted military coup. Friday, January 15, was the day our nation woke up with the sad story of attempted military takeover by a few young Nigerian members of our military establishment. The known figures in that colors move by a few young people in military uniform were Major Chukuma Kaduna Nzeku, Major Don Okafor, Major Emmanuel Vijina, Chris Alforo, Major Tim Onwuewu, Major Humphrey Chukwuka, Major Adewale Ademuyeko, Captain Emmanuel Nwobosi, Captain Ben Wuli, and Captain Och, all of the Nigerian Army. Out of 10, 10 out of 10 actors in that event were of Igbo in extraction, and one from the Yoruba ethnic group, none from the north. And mind realize that event cannot be sustainable or Situation Minister of Niger, and murdered one of his wives along with him. Those who abducted Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa also abducted the then Federal Minister of Finance, Chief Festus Okotie-Eboh, who was later murdered along with the Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa. Brigadier General Zakaria Malari was shot dead by a Virginia who was his brigade major, whom he stopped for a lift after escaping an attack on his house by the coup plotters. In that very fateful early morning, colleagues of those who abducted the Prime Minister also attacked the house of Chief S.L.A. Akintola, the Premier of Western Region, and murdered him. As if that was not enough, the insurgents rounded up leading Nigerian military officers, including the house of Brigadier General Zakaria Malari, Brigadier General Ademulago, Colonel Yakubu Pam, Colonel Kurub Mohammed, and other senior military officers, and executed them. All the murdered individuals were from different parts of the country except the then Eastern region. That was the story of that darkest day in our history. It was the event that opened the unfortunate chapter in our history, which leads to the series of events that brought about the civil war in Nigeria. Even though Major General Agui Ironsi thwarted the coup and became head of state, his actions such as making Nigeria a unitary state instead of the existing federal arrangement, and his appointment of many Igbos into sensitive positions at the beginning of his regime, which caused the serious concern and specter of ruination to people in the rest of the country, did not sit well with the aggrieved northerners still nursing the wounds of the elimination of most of their top military officers and government functionaries in January 1966. The July 1966 counter coup was bloodier than the first one and saw the death of 42 officers, mostly Igbo of Igbo origin. That and the killing of Igbos in some northern Nigerian cities, among other reasons, including some alleged bad blood which is said to be existing between the then military governor of Eastern region, Colonel Odumegu Ojukwu, and General Yakubu Gowon, the then new military head of state, led to the secession attempt of the Eastern region of Nigeria and the subsequent civil war that started. Recall that during the last constitutional conference before our independence, a motion was tabled for the conference to insert a clause in our constitution for any section of Nigeria to break away from the country. The motion was roundly rejected by the delegates, and the indivisibility of the Nigerian nation was enshrined in our constitution. Also recall that attempts were made mostly through the good offices of our leading figures and foreign friends to bring about peaceful resolution of the secession attempt, but such interventions were not successful. The result was the move by the then federal military government under the leadership of General Yakubu Gowon to embark on what was called police action to sustain the unity of the country, which resulted in 3 years of civil war to keep Nigeria one. As soon as the civil war was over, the federal military government introduced what it called 3 R's program. The 3 R's program meant reconciliation, rehabilitation, reintegration program. While some measures
of success were recorded in the implementation of the 3R program. Due to human factors, some of the aspects of the program were not achieved speedily. But it is gratifying to note that our country has since achieved tremendous success in healing the wounds of the Civil War, and Nigerians are now living with one another in peace and harmony. People regarded as the main protagonists of that time, especially the Igbos and Northerners, are now living with one another as best of friends. There are many Northerners living in different parts of Igbo land today, while there are Igbos are found in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, particularly in places like Lagos, which is the foremost hub of economic activity in our country, and in the north, forming the largest number of non-indigenous inhabitants in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, which is located in northern Nigeria. Despite this level of post-war progress, several burning political issues remain to haunt our political landscape. These include: 1, continuous call for a review of the 1999 Constitution and the need to restructure Nigeria. 2, insecurity in different parts of the country arising from military invasions and terrorist activities in the country. 3, the current secessionist movement with the state of Biafra under the umbrella of IPOB over 50 years after the Civil War was over. And 4, the mistrust among major sub-regional groups which remain a threat to democratic process in our country. Lastly, we need to learn lessons from the Civil War 51 years ago and address squarely the fractional tendencies in the country today. Unity, peace, trade, justice, democracy, and development must be made to work for Nigeria to keep it one and stronger. We should tackle the issue by deliberately skewing our next development plan and constitution to contain integration strategy as one of the major features of the plan. I thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elder Tanko Yakasai. And you have taken your time to rail out, the histories that, as I would say respectfully, being understood and as was lived during your time. Now, we will be bringing other guests. However, there are some points that you raised that I would gladly want those who are also aware and who were around during the time, because what this event here today being organized by Nzuko Umunna, an Igbo think tank, and being supported by Njenje Media TV and Ovation International, is to bring the narrative to the fore, where we can, as Professor said before at the beginning, and Reverend Bishop Kuka also noted, that we will get to the point that we can build something together. As the team said, never again. Never again that things that had happened in the past happen before. On that note, I would say, if we have Elder Emma Elazu, if he's here, he can speak, and I would beg him if he can touch on some of the points as contained in the speech of Elder Pa Tanko Yakasai. Elder Uma Elazu, is he here? Back office, can you please spotlight him? And he can take over the podium. Back office, do we have Elder here?
Yes, he's here.
Okay, please. Oh, okay, yes. Nayuku, thank you very much once more for meeting us again. Udo Dregi, can you please now take the podium? Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning stroke afternoon. Sadly, I'm not able to hear him. If back office, can we check if is he now unmuted? If that is the case, please. Sadly, I can still not hear him.
Perhaps
okay.
Baba needs to unmute.
I think he's unmuted. Maybe I don't know if it's connected via the internet. Now you could try once more. If not, you might need to log out and come back. Try once more. He's unmuted. Can you, Chief, can you please try? Yes, I can see you are unmuted. Try once more, sir. Let me spotlight you. Go ahead, sir. Not working out.
He still can't hear.
Okay. Na Yukubiko Iwegadinoko, Biko Cheretu Iwegadinoko. It is slightly unfortunate we cannot hear you. Ngozi, can you please reach him out? Let him probably drop and come back again, please. Right. We cannot hear him. On that note, I don't know. On that note, I don't know if we have Mrs. Charity Shakari. While we wait to get Chief Uma Elazu, can we have Mrs. Charity Shakari? Is she here amongst us to make a brief intervention, please?
Yes, she's having a network difficulty. She's logging in. Maybe you can go to.
Okay.
She's logging in.
Can we, Mazi?
Yes, Dele, go ahead.
Okay, is Ambassador Bl0Ws in the house, please? Internet.
Yes, I think Ambassador is here.
Yes. Okay, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Sorry, thank you. Let me begin by appreciating the organizers of the conference for creating this opportunity for us to discuss and brainstorm on issues important not only to us, but more for our children. And I also would like to appreciate our fathers who are here. I'm happy to join again. We are part of a struggle. It's one of the leaders of Southern Nigeria, Middle Belt, and we've been in active discussion with the Northern Elders Forum, is the co-leader. And I'm happy to see so many of our contemporary leaders, my friend Dr. Akim Babamed, Governor Peter Obi, and many others who are here. Now, for me, continuing from from Bishop Kuka's intervention, keynote, which I think has covered the most critical issues. And I must commend Bishop Kuka. He remains, I did a lot of my scholarly work in South America. And I know that the change that came to South America came mostly from the clergy. We call them liberation theologists, and Brother Bishop Kuka has continued to play that role, being the conscience of the country and speaking what many of the ordinary people are not able to speak. But I think he has made a critical fact that meant what the war. People may not know, but those of us who are from the South were as much victims as the people from the Southeast. And like Professor J.P. Clark aptly put it, we're all casualties, both the winners and the other side. But we also found ourselves in Biafra. And in the opening remarks, the opening prayer, the bishop stated how, as a young man, he was being carried up and down. Your case was better because I was being carried up and down in water. I remember twice overnight I slept in water all night because of the fact that troops were coming, clashing with each other. So we're all casualties. Now, going forward on this particular discussion, I think wars have always been with nations. Nations, human societies, people have always tended to express themselves in terms of having strong views, which sometimes end in conflict. So we have seen civil wars as part of human history. And it's not to bemoan the fact that the war took place. We all knew of what happened in the American Civil War, where over 600,000 people died. And the series of wars in European history that took place 100 years. The proclivity towards wars.
Yeah, no, you. Mazi Nnamdi ahụ m na okweghị ka ịgbanye amaghị m anyị anụghị ihe ị na-ekwu na the conference, so ihe ga-emenụ bụ na I ga-try again. Ọ bụrụ na ọ ga-work, mana m ga-akpọzi gị na the issue of line now, then ga-ekwu ga-agwazi anyị okwu through audio.
Okay.
Mana
can it be sent to my mail? I've been looking for it.
Mail. Because man, he at the meeting now, and we saw your face, but we couldn't hear you.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking, as an alternative, Kama Oga Emeha, then you can speak to us through this, yeah? Well, thank you.
If you look at it, South Korea has its own internal motivations. Even Somalia, there are clans and so on. So every country has a level of heterogeneity, a level of diversity. So diversity is not an excuse for inability for people to build states. Now the last point I'll make before I give one or two recommendations is the fact that state building is not a one-time thing. It's not a one-ended thing. State building is continuous. Nations are built continuously, and without sounding immodest, I must say that my academic work and my 2 award-winning books. This is entitled Global Trends in State Formation and Origin into the Inquiry, Survival, and Dynamics of Nations. And I've looked at, then we look at the perspectives of nation-state formation in Africa, both which are award-winning books that I school curriculum all over the world. Now, we've seen that you build nations, you don't stop, you continuously make effort. And I think that is the lesson for us, who are the leaders of today. The building of the Nigerian project must be a continuous exercise. It's not something that because war happened, we have to bemoan the war, we have to say, oh, we suffered during the war, or we won the war. No, we have to see that we continuously try to build. What do we need to do? Number one, elite consensus. We, the elite, must agree that we need to build this nation. We need to build this country. We need to talk together. We need to think together. I remember the thoughts of Julius Nyerere. Nyerere said, building nations is continuously talking. And that is why he opposed the Westminster system. When they told him there must be opposition, there must be shadow government, there must be the government. He said, no, in the African palace, in the traditional setting, you don't have somebody opposing somebody. You all talk until you agree on a consensus. We must think about consensus. We, the elite, must think of consensus. We must be able to labor and talk and see how we can build this country in a way that it is convenient to each other. And let me say this, Lord Lugard, Clifford, Arthur Richards, Macpherson, Littleton, they all realized at different times that this was a diverse country. And the only way this country could go forward was for the elite to keep. That was why the Ibadan conference was called the first place. And our founding fathers, please, it's very important for us to know this. Our founding fathers made it very clear that we are different people, that you cannot choke all of us into one box. But once we recognize our diversities, let us keep building a framework, a platform that all of us can be called a country. The other thing is rule of law. The law must rule. The law must rule. Our father, Bazuluke, has spoken and said about how we have deviated from the original constitutional norm. Very right. The constitution that was negotiated from Ibadan Conference 1950 up to 1960 constitution, from after the military coup, we have deviated fundamentally. Now, it's not for us to cry over spilled milk. It's for us to see that we continue to build a constitution that accommodates everybody. You see, in a federation, in a diverse country like Nigeria, we must listen to each other. The constitution must cater for everybody and protect everybody. A situation where some people feel superior to others. A situation where some people don't feel protected by the constitution creates a problem. It's a precarious balancing. We have to consider each other. We have to know that every part of the country must be carried along. And that is why I think the expression on the part of the Igbos to say, look, hey, this country originally was a tripod and later became a quartet in the Midwest. But whatever it is, we too should have a taste of ruling the country. And some people say, no, you cannot rule the country. No, you can't say that. The whole idea of the law is that it takes care of everybody. It accommodates everybody and makes everybody to feel, have a sense of belonging. And maybe I should end by saying that when we talk about democracy, bread. You cannot say that because this is how democracy is done in other countries. No, it must be bread. It must be a democracy that works for us. We give the Swiss example. We give the Canadian example. We give the examples. And we must always fashion out what is best for us as a country. And that is why when some people talk about restructuring, constitutional amendment, we must be open to these ideas of how we can build this country. The American Constitution itself, since 1787, when the first Constitution came in, but there have been 27 major amendments. Each of the 27 amendments is almost like it alters certain fundamental things. The French Constitution from 1958 has gone through 24 amendments. If you go to places like Indian Constitution from 1950 has gone through 104 major amendments. Each of them is like a major amendment that has tried to accommodate everybody. So, Mr. Chairman, organizer, ladies and gentlemen, we can build this country, but it must be a country of fairness, it must be a country of equity, it must be a country that protects everybody. If, for example, you take the oil from the Niger Delta, our environment is polluted, and you say, no, rubbish, I don't want to listen to you, then you are not looking at us as people that belong. These are the critical issues that we must look at all times. All parts of the country must have a sense of belonging. And we must be able to build a society where we take our people into modern societies, where food security, people are hungry, very, very hungry. There are no jobs for people. We, the elite, must be able to create an environment where people are able to live a little bit like other countries. I heard the example of Scandinavian countries for living. Fortunately for me, I was ambassador to Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. And many times I had to ask a lot of questions to people in those countries. And the important thing is that the society, the state, is able to take care of the needs of the people. And that's why they call them social welfare states. In fact, nobody is too rich. Nobody is too poor. So nobody is poor, actually, but nobody is too rich. So the society takes care of everybody. And we, the elite, particularly those who are in positions of authority, must be able to know that the collective future of this country depends. And what can avoid not going back to what had happened before is for us to build a society where people are able to sleep at the end of the day, haven't eaten, and at the end of the day, feeling that this society takes care of me, this society protects me. No Nigerian is superior to me. I go for a job, and based on certain criteria, I'm able to take the job, not because of the fact that somebody feels superior to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I think there will be more opportunity for us to talk, and perhaps I should stop at this point and be able to make more interventions in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much. At this stage, we would like to bring on Mrs. Charity Shekari. Mrs. Charity, please come on now. And let's emphasize that because of time constraints, we should keep our speeches to 3 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, ma. We're ready for you, ma.
I want to thank the organizers of this conference, and I want to say, God bless Nigeria. I speak here after greeting the keynote speaker, our former president, and every one of you. I can see Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, Igali, and Dele Homodu that I've always seen from a very far distance, but today I can see you closely. I want to speak as a mother, a woman, and a grandmother. And I want to say that Nigeria, from the perspective of a woman, a mother, we will want to remain together. And we want to say never again, truly, and never again. And especially all the things that are happening now. Mothers are the victims, women and children. We have become widows. We have become displaced, refugees. We are dispossessed, impoverished, exploited sexually, and many other ways. What is to be done for us to keep this country together? Emancipation, empowerment, and involvement of women in the processes of peace and human capital development. But as we say never again, is that really happening? Are women actually being involved and made to be involved consciously, knowing that the woman is a universal factor. For every religion, even beginning from God, when he wanted to salvage the world, he sent Jesus Christ through a woman. Why did he give a man that opportunity? Because a woman is dependable and a woman can deliver. Now, a woman can do things that men cannot do, and that is salvage situation. So, are we really saying never again and having the consciousness of putting women in the position where they can ensure never again? What is being done to see that in all sphere of life in Nigeria, in governance and everything, that women are involved? And again, I'll move away from talking about women. I want to talk about this country. No one owns this country. If really we want to say never again, no one owns this country more than the other. No one has more monopoly of violence, of knowledge, of rule of law. Of when you want to go to look for something, you can't get it because you come from another part of the country. Or because you belong to another religion. Some people speak with arrogant voices, with the kind of speech that makes you wonder whether you have equity with them. If Nigeria is going to be one, our voices must be such that listen to the voice of reason and peace. Not to say, I don't want this country. Another one says, I own this country. Another one says, you come from this area. Or even the conflicts we have in this country, some people want to give a different narrative of what it is. So if there's going to be never again must be observed, never again. But the conduct and the processes of arriving at never again need to be re-evaluated. Some people conduct themselves as if they are the ones who rule this country forever, and nobody should talk and nobody should say anything. Hey, this country belongs to all of us, and never again is truly going to be never again. And we want Nigeria, and we want Nigeria to remain. And we remain with the country, not with people, not with political parties or people that have institutionalized themselves and made themselves gods. Nigeria will survive, and we're going to survive emancipated and empowered. But never again must follow the due process of never again. Our constitution must be the people's constitution. People must begin to talk in a way that makes you know that you don't have the monopoly of violence or the monopoly of power or monopoly of knowledge or monopoly of deciding who stays in which part of the country or who takes which position. Nigeria never again will what Biafra put us through or whoever put us through. Nigeria never again. We want the history of what has happened to be given to our children. Let the children know what happened. What happened in Biafra? What happened in 1966? What happened? We want to know. We want the children to know from the beginning to the end. Let the history be rebrought for us to know what happened so that people can know their history. Let us know where we are coming from. Let us know where we are going to. I guess I've spoken for more than 3 minutes, but I want to say never again. And if it is never again, it should be on equal platform. No one has monopoly of owning anything in this country. We are equal. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much once more for the passionate speaking as a mother. Again, we say, and I summarize from what you say, it's not about to mount it, to say never again, but it is about putting actions to see why it shall never happen again. I will take the privilege now to get back. Before we had Elder Umar Elazu, whom we tried bringing on before, but it appears there is a problem in his own connection. So we will have the privilege of having him speak to us via the telephone. And as long as he picks, he will come up now. Elder Umar Elazu, I don't know if did he manage to come on back office. Can you please check? If not, he's been placed on speaker now, so if he comes in, he can quickly speak to us either way. Either he comes back. Okay, so Elder Umar Elazu, please, 3 minutes. Is he back on?
No, he's not back. You can proceed through the phone. He's not back.
Okay, so yes, I'm trying to connect him now via the phone so that we can have him quickly speak to us and make his intervention. While we do that, I think we can quickly go to the next person, and since the connection appears to be a little bit problematic, I think the line is somewhat busy, but it's fine. We will go to the next person now, and that will be in the person of the Afro Senator. That is, in the person of Senator Shehu Sani, a former senator from Kaduna State. Senator, can we please, back office, can we spotlight him? We have Senator Shehu Sani there. Senator, you're welcome. And please, can you make your intervention max 5 minutes? I think back office will help us with the signs when they exceed so that we call their attention. Senator, you're welcome. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me. Well, it is an honor to be here and make my little contribution. First of all, I must appreciate the honor of this invitation. And then I have had the presentation by various speakers, particularly the elders, those who have seen it all. But for me, I have a very little contribution to make. First of all, we can happily say that the civil war has ended over 5 decades ago, but the civil battles continue. Because from the time the last gunshot was silenced to this time, thousands of people lost their life as a result of issues still that has to do with the unity of the country, whether it is ethno-religious war or sectional issues or whatever. We are still having problems with ourselves as a country. And then the next I will say is that what are the lessons we have learned from the civil war? Because for such number of people to have died, over 2 million, and for such a country that has invested so much in that war, in the name of uniting a country, what have we actually achieved? Are we actually united? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Well, for you to get the practical answer of that question, you need to go through the comments of people, young people that come from the southeast, and young people that come from the north, and young people that come from the southwest. When you go to social media, the young people who have even not experienced that war are still entrenched in the belief, young people from the southeast, that the war was a massacre, was a persecution of people of Igbo ethnic stock, and the ones from the north still feel justified on the federal side. So what have we actually achieved? It is important for us to understand that the national anthem is not enough to unite a country. The constitution of the country is not enough to unite a country, or the national pledge, or whatever emblem we have, the national flag, or whatever. But what is most important is that we must entrench justice and equity. Every part of Nigeria and every Nigerian from any part of the country must be given the recognition, the honor, and his dignity must be recognized as an equal participant in the Nigerian enterprise, which is very much lacking. In the late 50s, Umar Altine from Sokoto State contested election in Enugu State and became mayor. His family still lived in Kaduna, and I happened to visit them some few weeks ago. Their own thinking about Nigeria was different from what we are having today. In 1999, Ike Madu from Imo State was born and lived in Kaduna, and he contested the State House of Assembly and won. Now, with these two examples, it is impossible for you to say 2 decades after the restoration of democracy, it is possible for anybody from the north to win an election in the south, or anybody from southwest to win an election in the southeastern part of Nigeria. So we're supposed to have said we have progressed to the point that we can really say that we are united as a country. Truly, we have built the Niger Delta Bridge and one is still under construction. But the unity of our people in their hearts, their mind and spirit is still lacking. People still identify with themselves, with their ethnic affiliations, with their religious groupings. We completely lost what we thought we have founded by that war. And I think these are issues that we need to put forward. People will say that progress has been made by establishing schools, unity schools, NYC and whatever. But just engage each Nigerian from where he comes from in a discussion and see what he will say. And they were not speaking out of a theory. It's the reality that that really formed them as a people in the last 5 to 6 decades. If you are holding a position of authority, whether you are a controller general of prisons, immigration and customs, and your time of retirement has reached, instead of those in the political authority to give the next person in charge to hold that position and assume the seat, they will retire as many people as possible until they reach someone of their own ethnic group. Now, how can you unite a country with all your national conferences, national flag, national anthem, once some Nigerians are more Nigerians than others? You can't have a country that you can actually be proud to call your own. The agitations will continue until we have a political class that really understands that the only way to unite this country is to enforce justice and equity. And you cannot do that until you make sure every Nigerian is fully convinced, or majority of Nigerians fully convinced, that his birthplace, where he comes from, will not be a hindrance or impediment for him to achieving anything in life. So I believe that a conference like this should continue and should bring in more people whose contribution will assist us in where we dream to be. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable, that is Senator Shehu Sani. Thank you very much once more. As your colleague, or your former colleague would always say, you speak the truth, you die. You don't speak the truth, you also die. And I say thank you very much for staying with the truth this afternoon. On the same time, I would I have Dr. Omar Elazo on the line, on the telephone. He's going to now speak to us via the telephone. Elder, please, can you quickly make your intervention note? I would want you to look slightly to the presentation made by Pa Tanko Yakasai as he made his presentation. And I will want you, in your submission, if you can quickly also respond to that, sir. You are now, everyone is listening to you, sir. Dr. Omar Elazo, can you go on, sir?
Hello?
Yes, we are hearing you now. Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for involving me in this discussion. It's a pity that I cannot manipulate all these first world gadgets. But a little that I've heard, let me comment. I heard my friend Tanko Yakasai read out the names of Igbo officers who were supposed to have killed northern officers and politicians. But he forgot to mention the conditions that brought about the first coup in the first place. Because when you come to equity, as the lawyer said, you come with clean hands. If we are talking about never again, I was going to suggest that we look at it from a point of view of a statement of hope, not wishful thinking. It's a statement of hope that maybe we can stop the kind of circumstances that caused the first coup in the first place. I believe that Tanko Yakasai is as old as I am. He should know that the problem started even from the census. From the census issue, we moved to the issues in the Western region. We moved to the issues that sent Chief Awolowo to prison. We moved to the issues that caused Akintola, to take over the Western region. All those things, and the Western region election, which was the gap that made the young men of January 15, 1966 to do what they did. And if you read their speech, you will know that they were Nigerians and they wanted to make Nigeria proud. Even if it is all Igbo people who did it, which is not true. Those young men, in my view, were the real Nigerians who wanted Nigeria to stand proudly among other nations. I think that in the process, they did not succeed. But who stopped them? It was an Igbo man drowning other people. So when we tell how it will not help us in solving the problem of never again. Having said that, let me just say a few things. I believe Nigeria can be a great nation. But it cannot be a great nation if we keep on lying to ourselves, or if we keep on hiding our history. We have to write history in such a way we face the facts. If we want to say who killed who, then read Obasanjo's book, I've forgotten which one. And he mentioned, he himself knew about the coup. So we talked to him about the coup. What did he do? And there were many others like that. If I knew they were going to do it, I can get the list of the officers who participated in the first coup. But let us put all that aside. The issue that we have now, we are having this hope that in the future we will not get back into the issues that led us to 1966 and also what has been happening since then. Because after the first coup, the second coup, which was a revenge coup, took almost the lives of all Easterners, not just Igbos, Igbos, Ethnics, Ijaw, officers who were in the army. They were almost all eliminated. Over 200 officers in one night. So we are not going to be saying, oh, you talk about some, you don't talk about others. It's not going to help us to say never again. Now, there are two things I'll suggest, because I understand I should speak for about 5 minutes, unless I'll come again. We want to be able to come together and behave in a way that we will say never again. We must build a kind of moral order which everybody will subscribe to. What do I mean? When the Americans got together and wanted to establish the United States, they set up the very first sentence of their constitution. We believe this to be fact, that all men are created equal. Full stop. All men are created equal. Is there any sentence in our whole political history that will say all of us are agreed that that is the beginning of the moral order which will govern our living together? Unless we're able to do that, and in 2014, the Constitutional Conference did write certain conditions. They said everybody must have subscribed to it. I have been in almost all the Constitutional Conferences. We come around and pick it out and talk and we go and nothing happens. And the fact is that there are people in Nigeria who don't believe that other parts of Nigeria can produce people who are equal to them. They don't believe that all men are created and women are created equal. They believe that they were given by the British, by Allah, the whole of Nigeria to rule. And everybody else, you have to do what they say, or there will be no Nigeria. That is not the spirit in which we can say never again. And as far as I'm concerned, unless we sit down together, bring people together, and we agree that this is one thing that will hold all of us together. Like America said that all men are created equal. I would say if we continue to be in this Nigeria in the way that the dominance of some ethnic groups is taken for granted, and people from other ethnic groups start pandering to that idea, but we are not going to get out of trouble. Because today in Nigeria, the tension between the images of a moral order, which many of us have in our heads, and the actualities, things that are actually done, they are so miles apart. You can be talking about democracy, and then you cannot sleep with your two eyes closed because somebody is carrying AK-47 and wants to kill you. Somebody you don't know, somebody you don't know, somebody who simply wants to kill you because you are who you are. So, my friends, if we want to build Nigeria in which everybody will live at peace with one another, we have to start by creating an image of moral order, which we will teach to the next generation to begin to know in their hearts that they are Nigerians, and that anybody who is a Nigerian has certain rights and privileges which accrue to that name. I remember in 2005, Nicky Toby was the chairman.
Sir, can you run?
He wanted people to speak. And I raised my hand. And I asked one simple question, and he fled up. The question was, what is the definition of a Nigerian citizen? And what are the rights that inhere in being a Nigerian citizen? And that question has to be answered. Let me stop there.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. If I could listen to others, I can say more.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. The back office will get back to you. We'll try to see if we can get you back in the main meeting. On this note, we'll say thank you very much and have a wonderful day. We'll bring you back again to the main meeting. Now, I will be handing over to my good brother, Dele Mahmood, please, to bring in the next guest. Dele, over to you.
Yes, our next guest is a woman of substance and someone I like to hear speak all the time. And we're speaking of no other than our lady of music, Onyeka Onwenu. You are welcome, ma'am. We're not hearing you, ma'am.
Okay, you can hear me now, yeah?
We can hear you now, yes, please.
Lovely. Thank you, my brother. It's always good to see you. My deepest respect to our elders who are here at this meeting. Thank you so much for taking the time. God bless you. God keep us, keep you, and keep us too. I'd like to start by paying my respects to some great men who've passed away recently. There are many of them. I'll just name two. And that is Rear Admiral Nnamdi Kanu, and of course Onyabobi, who is the son of ZCOB, the president of Igbo State Union, under whom my father, Dixon Kanu Bl0Ws, served as the principal secretary. There's a long history here. We're losing people who have still so much to give to this country and so much direction to give to us. I'm almost tearing up and I don't want to. But I pray over all of us and I pray over this country that God will still have his way with us. This is a great country that we are all a part of, and there's a reason why we've all been brought together. Excuse me. Having said that, I want to thank the organizers for having me last year. I didn't expect to be on this year. In fact, I didn't want to. Because one of my principal problems with my people, Ndigo, is our lack of recognition and support for our women who happen to be the best in the whole world. We've proved that we can serve, we are committed, that we care, and we love this country. Not just Igbo women, but Nigerian women in general. We have not been given our dues, we have not been given our place in the polity of this country, and it's really a waste. You do not go to war with one hand tied behind your back. And that's what Nigeria is doing. And if you don't know that we are in a war, please know it today. We are fighting on all sides. This is not the country that our fathers left for us. This is not what they wanted. This is not what was organized. A country that is rudderless. A country that does not care. That the value of human life is totally diminished. A country where somebody can stand up and tell me that I have to be a slave, that I don't have a right to certain things because of where I come from. I say no. And that is where we stand, and I believe I've been listening to everyone. That is where we stand when we say never again. Yes, we have not explored all that brought Biafra about, and I've listened to some of these speeches here, and I cringe at the fact that not much has changed. We have learned nothing from our past experiences, and that is very sad. But what I can say to Nigeria, to Ndigo, the rest of Nigeria, the world is not waiting for you. I'd like to thank all of those people who have criticized and abused Ndigo. When somebody fights with his wife in their bedroom, it's the fault of Ndigo. I was disgusted with all of us during the NSAS tribulation, and it was a tribulation, that our children were killed in front of us. What did we end up with? A strenuous effort made by people who should know to shift the blame for everything on Ndigo. Hey, come on. We are no longer considered citizens of this country. When there's a problem, everybody unites behind hating Ndigo. Be that as it may. I still have no apologies. God created me an Igbo woman. I am doubly blessed and doubly challenged. But that is why he put me here. And may he use every single one of us to achieve what he means, what he set this country up for. Let me round up so other people can have a chance to speak. Where do we go from here? Let me thank those that abuse other people. You encourage them. You make us stronger. You make us more determined. Because if you keep saying, go home, we are going home. We're happy to go home. Gee, well, go home. You didn't learn any lessons after the war, did you? Now you're back at it. And people, whenever there's trouble anywhere, everybody unites and asking you to go home. Please, let us go home. Thank you for asking us to go home. You are making us go home because you don't know what is happening in the Igbo region now. Is that we're getting together to realize that nobody loves you. I'm not speaking about individuals here, please. I'm speaking generally. You're not wanted. So even if they don't have, you're not wanted and they don't want to let you go, you can still go in many ways. Start taking care of your own problems. Start dealing with issues of food production, agriculture, development in every way possible. You are a people who are blessed just like everybody else. Never apologize for who God has made you to be. Stand on it. Take it in the chin and know that you can make progress and show the world that this group of people can never be kept down. That the true Nigeria can never be kept down. Those who carry on as if they own the world and they own heaven, one day you will stand before the Almighty King of Kings and you will have to answer. Thank you all very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that short and brilliant speech. So on this road, we'll be going straight to the next speaker, and that will be Dr. Akin Baba Ahmed. Doctor, please, you are welcome to make your speech now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time or first day of coming across my YouTube channel or seeing my face, you are highly welcome. Please willkommen zu meinem Kanal. Mein Name ist Linda Chukwueze. It comes as Miguel. That red button that says subscribe and you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be able to get information on the.
Bis zum nächsten Video und einen schönen Tag. Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bis man. Subscribe to LYNDA'S TV show. What are you waiting for? Click on that red button that says subscribe. You turn on the notification bell so that you'll be getting more updates from me. Leave your comments down below and share this video with your friends, families, and colleagues until we meet again in my next video. Bye bye.